intermission time at KFAC Opera House, and tonight we're enjoying the rare privilege of having as our guest one of the great stars of the performance to which you're listening at KFAC Opera House, Otello, by Giuseppe Verdi, and in the role of Desdemona, a woman of tremendous talent, of great sincerity, and a good friend of mine. And proudly, I introduce to you Stella Roman. Stella, welcome to KFAC Opera House. It was wonderful of you to take your time to come here and see us.
Caro Carlo, che piacere di essere qui ancora un'altra volta.
Wouldn't it be wonderful if we could just speak Italian and have everybody understand us out there?
I think many understand
Yes,
Italian.
I'm sure that they do, but we want to be sure they all do, particularly tonight. Otello by Verdi, recorded with Stella Roman and Giovanni Martinelli.
Tibet.
And Lawrence Tibbett, yes.
And Maestro
And
Panizza.
all of these great people together in this one performance, and although some of them are no longer with us, we're still able to hear them, and it's a wonderful thing. When did you record this particular performance, this recording? When did you make that?
I think it was in 1942, I think.
And that was at the Metropolitan?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. This, of course, was not the first time you sang it, nor was it the last time you sang the role of Desdemona.
No.
But was it the only time you sang with these particular people? For example, Martinelli. Martinelli waited a long time before he sang the role of Otello.
Yes.
He said he didn't want to sing it when he was too young. Is that right?
Yes, it's a very heavy part, vocally, artistically, in any sense. Very difficult.
He said he wanted to wait until after he was 50 years old, and then he would undertake it. Was he over 50 in 1942? I don't recall what his age would be today if he were alive.
Well, I don't know exactly, but around
I guess so.
50.
Lawrence Tibbett, he's always known as one of the great Iagos because of his dramatic ability as well as because of his fine voice. In the producing of a thing like this, you've told me many times how you go into a part. You want to be the person you're portraying, and you study it very hard, and you think as you feel that person would think when you do the role. I remember it well, didn't I? Do you feel that this performance is indicative of everyone doing the same thing?
I think so.
The same
felt
attitude?
it, yes. We forgot who we were in our private lives. I saw Tibet, I know he was Iago. He acted as Iago, he sang as Iago. Martinelli was tremendous as Otello. Votica, all the others.
Can we have then from you now, in your own words, what was Desdemona?
Desdemona was a very idealistic person, full of love and of devotion to this man. Otello...
This love and devotion, how did it begin? If we want to go back to Shakespeare's story, we could. But how do you, in your mind, did this develop in her? Was he a hero to her at the beginning, or...
I think it was together a hero, a great man whom she admired and she learned to love. It was great love at the end. I loved the part, although some people think she was a weak woman. I don't think so. I think she was a very devoted, beautiful, idealistic person, full of ideals. I read, naturally, the immortal tragedy of Shakespeare, and I felt that Verdi immortalized in his music the same greatness as Shakespeare wrote it.
Well, Verdi was a great student of Shakespeare, wasn't he?
Yes.
A great admirer of Shakespeare's
But you can
work.
do it in music. It is
well,
something
he was also
unique.
a great composer.
Yeah,
That helps a great deal.
Yes. Wonderful.
Stella, you, throughout the years that I have known you and throughout your career, have had, although it was not an unusual interest in your art, the art of singing opera, but an interest that was involving all people around you who were taking part in the same art. taking part in the same kind of interpretation, and you had your own set ideas on how you should learn to sing, how you should interpret a role, and how you would suggest to others that they interpret roles.
Yeah, this is true. Well, I've had a tremendous devotion to my career. Nothing counted in my life. Then to study into music, to go deep in interpretation, to dedicate myself completely. My most beautiful years of my life, I dedicated to study and to sing and to try first to sing. You see, the voice, as I told you many of the times, is not sufficient. In Italy, they say, and all over the world, voce, voce, voce. Voce è bellissima, but not sufficiente. You have to have talent. You have to have intelligence, not regular intelligence, musical intelligence. You have to concentrate on the person you properly interpret. And you have to have imagination and great control of your voice. You have to have basic training. The singer, like many young singers, they sing few years with a natural voice, and then when the natural voice doesn't correspond anymore to all the efforts they have to make, so then the voice declines and they disappear. An artist with knowledge knows how to guide the voice. First of all, knows how to breathe. This is the first step to a singer. And then how to project, how to control with the brain the voice and the projection, how to spin a long pianissimo, how to support a heavy high note like an Aida and a triumphal scene or something. This is all controlled by your musical intelligence, by your brain. And then I studied every opera. I knew the parts, not to sing them, but I knew what happened in that opera. I knew the whole plot. I knew the parts, the interpretations which they should have, the others. And it helped me very much. And then that was all my life. I always wanted just to sing.
Stella, you have judged many vocal competitions.
Yes.
Quite recently, you were asked to go to Chicago with the
Yes.
Chicago Lyric and judge one of their very important competitions.
Yes.
It seems from the way you speak that you see many of these young people of whom you do not approve and very few of whom you do. Do those few of whom you do approve usually arrive at the point they want to reach in their careers?
Yes.
You know them as individuals for the most part, and they...
Well, it gives me really a great joy to listen to young aspiring singers in auditions which I am judging. Unfortunately, many of the young singers did not receive the proper basic training from the beginning. Many of them have great difficulties developing and improving their voices. Some doesn't know the basic training of breath, of projecting the voice, of method of bel canto. And although they have beautiful voices, in the next audition, maybe, they are already deteriorating. Some of them are improving. And I am very, very happy when I see this improvement. It gives me an immeasurable joy to impart some of my operatic musical knowledge to aspiring young singers, and really with heartfelt sincerity, I always hope that my expressions of encouragement, of critique to them will be of great and lasting inspiration to them.
Stella, we know how sincere you are in what you would like to do, and I remember at one time you said to me that you would, if the time allowed, take some students and really train them yourself, but you've never done it, except in a couple of rare cases. Do you choose them that carefully?
No. I must say, I was very busy with some private things in my life. I'm very much interested to find some really exceptionally dedicated singers to divide with them and impart to them all my experiences and to group them together to form a sort of a master class of interpretation. I am convinced that a good prepared singer, even if not with the most beautiful voice, but with great artistic interpretation and musicality, could succeed to sing in any theater, in any great theater, if he's prepared or she is prepared.
You seem to place more emphasis then on interpretation than on vocal quality.
Both. But many of them have just a vocal preparation and nothing else. You sing in the first act with a gorgeous voice. Ah, ma che bello. In the second act, in the third act, you are already used to it. In the fourth act, you are bored with a beautiful voice and nothing else. You know, Traviata doesn't die after the first act, sempre libera. It dies in the last act, in the greatest drama and tragedy. It doesn't count the voice anymore there. It's what you put in that voice that
Speaking
touches
of that,
you.
there's the last scene, the final act of Otello, which we'll hear later on tonight, with you as Desdemona. There is an act that requires drama on the part of both of you.
Yeah.
How, laying still on a bed, can you expound all this drama? How can you send those waves out to the audience and have them feel what you feel?
Well, the beginning of the fourth act has this beautiful cantilena and the Ave Maria. And then comes Otello. Martinelli was always very excited, very natural, impulsive in the last act. May I tell you a little story?
Yes, please.
So she came and we started to the duet, to discuss desperately, to convince him I am innocent. He didn't accept it, and she threw me on the bed. My head was lying on the edge of the bed down, with I was with my head toward the public, lying on the bed. And she started, Mori, you die. I said, no, Otello, Mori, no, Otello. It was this. And then, in his excitement, he took the pillow and put it over my head and started to push it down. And I said, my God, I felt my neck was breaking.
You'd suffocate, too, with
So
the
I
pillow.
suffocated desperately. I couldn't say anything anymore because my face was covered. So, slowly, under the pillow, I reached out, I don't know where, and I pinched Martinelli. In that moment, he made, that was not written in the opera.
Well, at least it
But
got
I
the
saved
pillow
my life.
Stella, you've had a lot of very wonderful experiences in your career. And let's see, the first time you sang this opera.
Oh, yes. It was in Verona.
In Verona.
The Philharmonic de Verona. Philharmonic de Verona. It was in winter. And I sang it with a great Otello, Francesco Merli.
Oh, yes.
And then also with Laureano Pertile. What a great actor.
Yes.
Very, very great actor. He was the favorite tenor of Toscanini.
There are some rare recordings of him still today, if you can find them.
And then I sang it also in Rome with Maestro Marinuzzi. I had the privilege to sing with all this
Do you have a
great
favorite Otello?
artists. I think this is my favorite Otello.
Martinelli.
This one, yes. And so I sang it then with different, with Maestro de Sabata and other conductors, which I had the privilege and occasion to sing. I didn't sing it with the other composers. I mean, like Cilea and these others.
You, before we let everybody think that you sang only Desdemona in Otello, you were quite a Verdi singer, as a matter of fact.
Yes, and it's strange that my first Verdi opera was Aida.
Aida.
With Merli also. Yes,
Then,
I sang
of course, you've done Il Trovatore.
Ballet Maschera.
Ballet Maschera.
Forza del Destino. I love that.
So you were
so
Leonora many times, weren't
Yes.
you?
Always dying, always dying.
And in the not-too-distant future, our listeners will hear you in another opera at KFAC Opera House, a shorter one by Mascagni.
Oh, yes. Oh, I sang it with him.
With him conducting?
Yes, with him conducting. He loved to conduct. He was so in love with his opera that he was so slow. We had to take extra breaths to support it. But fantastic interpretation. Fantastic. Wonderful. I sang with him. I coached with him, and naturally with others. I had the privilege really to meet all these great artists, great composers like Richard Strauss, who coached me, sang with him, and Zandonai and Cilea and many others.
Zandonai. Which of his did you do? The first
Francesca da Rimini and Romeo and Julieta.
You did Romeo and
Yes,
Julieta.
Romeo. He was conducting. He was fantastic conductor. Very, very wonderful. I sang many operas with Giordano. Naturally, my debut was in Andrea Chenier in Bologna.
Did he conduct for your...
He conducted, yes. He conducted Andrea Chenier. I sang with him also conducting Siberia, Madame Saint-Jean, and what other opera?
Some of those operas are not being performed anymore.
No,
and it's very sad.
No. Well, I sang many of operas which they don't perform now. But when you are in Italy, you are a young singer, you are requested many times to sing operas by young composers or by not so well known operas. The famous singers, when they are already arrived, they refuse to sing this smaller operas.
We always hope that once again we'll see a revival of something. We have been seeing some, those of Donizetti and so forth in recent years.
Yes,
it's been very nice.
Yes.
Stella Roman,
yes.
Thank you so much for joining us, for all that you have done for opera, for all that you are still doing for opera.
Wonderful,
and
thank you.
We look forward to many more activities by you. What do you plan?
Well, first of all, I would like to tell you that the Metropolitan Opera auditions of last year, at which I was privileged to be a judge together with our great music critic, Martin Bernheimer, and which was televised at that time, received an Emmy nomination this year.
Oh, really?
And this is wonderful. And I hope it will win May the 28th.
Wonderful.
When it will be
we'll
chosen.
have to keep our eyes and
I
ears
hope.
open for that. Well,
Yes.
Stella, thank you again very much.
Grazie mille,
We
mille.
could sit here and talk to you for hours and hours and
Oh,
hours.
I
and
love
a whole
it.
lot. But we'll do it again sometime.
I will be.
Maybe when we present Cavalleria Rusticana and then
I will be very pleased. Thank you, Carlo.
Thank you.
Ciao.